Hello everyone, it's Jamarl Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. Hope everyone is doing okay this evening. I have a show or two that I want to do. This one definitely, I have another one that I want to respond to critics from Sweden. Actually, believe it or not, this goes to something that took place on something I said in Sweden. But I hope everyone is doing okay this evening. First, tomorrow I'm having a birthday bash. It's going to be at 5 p.m. and it is essentially going to be a birthday show because tomorrow's my birthday. Tomorrow's my birthday. I'm going to be 41 years young. In addition to having a birthday bash, it is also going to be patron appreciation. I'm just going to do both of those shows together. The plan is to just have multiple segments throughout the show, kind of like a radio show or a talk show or something to that effect. So that should be fun. That should be a lot of fun. That's going to start at 5 p.m. That show is going to be saved for patrons at the end of that show. So afterwards is going to be unlisted only for patrons. This is because I'm starting to add more content to the patrons because I want patrons or PayPal Ian's patron or PayPal, because I want to create content that I guess I feel like if they're paying me to do content, then they should get extra special content. So that's the thought behind it. Nevertheless, the show is going to be for everybody to see. 5 p.m. birthday bash. It's going to go for an hour or two. I'm thinking more likely 2 hours. So it should be damn good. That's going to be tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. Speaking of that, like I say, I logged on because I wanted to do a show dealing with not pushing back, but I guess responding to some of the Swedes that watch my broadcasts. And I see this. I keep things in my Twitter that I want to kind of talk about. And as I'm scrolling through it, looking for one thing, I remember this. The gentleman looking so defiantly strong is Chuck Schumer. Now, he looks that way. I suppose he's probably more so constipated than having anything to do with the politics of things. But Chuck Schumer, supposedly leader of the resistance, the guy who's fighting Donald Trump tooth and nail for every last blade of grass that's there to fight for, because Chuck Schumer is a leader of the resistance. Do you know that this leader of the resistance has just made a deal with Mitch McConnell to approve a bunch of district court judges so these guys can skip town to go back to their districts to campaign? If you are really the leader of the resistance, you should be fighting for tooth and nail for each and everything that there is. When Obama was in office, not only did they steal his Supreme Court pick, the idea that we're having a conversation about you skipping town and approving anything is amazing to me. I'm not even a Democrat, and I look at this with a certain amount of scorn. What do other lefties supposed to think of this? These guys who are out there screaming and bitching and complaining and fighting and trying to make the argument that the Democratic Party is somehow fundamentally different than Republicans and that this idea of resistance to Trump is a real thing. I don't think it's a real thing at all. I think Trump is an extension of what was there prior. But the argument that's being made here is that Trump is something fundamentally different. And because he's something fundamentally different, because he's this monster, this thing that's ripping off the edges of the tops of houses and reaching in and eating people, that's what you're trying to make the man seem like. Doug Jones, who raised up this thing of black people getting him elected, voted 60% with Trump. The guy, again, an icon of the resistance, voting 60% with Trump. Look at this. I want to make a point. Resistance is something else. Oh, dude, don't do this again. My OBS is behaving very weirdly. Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. See if I can make this. Fix this on the spot. I gotta be honest. OBS is pissing me off. Alright, here we go. That's so bizarre. Yeah, OBS is doing weird things. All right, so let's try this. Let's bring this over and see if this works. All right, I hope you guys can see this. Democrats just confirmed lots of judges so they could skip town. I'm going to read it out just in case you're looking at me as opposed to the screen, because there's something going on with OBS today and I don't necessarily know what it is. Senate Democrats just gave a huge gift to President Donald Trump. They agreed to expedite votes on 15 of his nominees to lifetime federal court seats because they wanted to go home. This is Huffington Post. All of these articles are at the bottom for you guys to see for yourself. OBS, this is so weird to me. The OBS is not weird, it's just acting weird today. This is like the second or third time where the display function stopped working. I'm sorry, guys. All right, let me just read it out. I don't want to sit here the whole time. Mitch McConnell has lined up votes for all of those district court nominees last week. Normally, Senate rules require 30 hours of waiting time for each nominee, something Democrats typically take advantage of to delay action on confirming Trump judges. But Minority Leader and Chuck Schumer cut a deal with McConnell on Tuesday to bypass the wait times and let them get through. Why? So Democrats could get back to campaigning and focus on winning re-elections in November. The Senate is now out of session until next Tuesday. Now keep in mind, these people are going to be on this bench for God knows how long. And the idea that you're expediting this process, knowing that you're putting these rapidly knuckle draggers onto benches all across America, here's your Democratic Party. Here's your Democratic Party. Of the 15, 6 were confirmed by a voice vote on Tuesday. Another one was confirmed on a recorded vote. The remaining 8 will get quick votes next week. Again, these are judges that Trump are putting in district courts all throughout the United States that the Democratic Party is essentially giving, in some cases, voice votes and essentially expedited confirmation so they can get back to campaigning. It's a major win for Trump and Mitch McConnell, whose number one priority is filling up federal courts and conservative judges, many of whom are incredibly anti-abortion, anti-LGBTQ rights, anti-voting rights. Trump has gotten 26 circuit court judges confirmed, more than any other president at this point of his term. Another way of putting it, 1 in 7 U.S. circuit court seats is now filled by a judge nominated by Donald Trump. If you want to thank somebody, thank Mr. Schumer here and his band of merry men that are utterly feckless and weak in regards to doing anything to hold the line. You're talking about a man on the wall. This is not a man on the wall anything. This is the opposite. Speedy confirmation for judges. This is amazing. This is amazing to me. Now, to put this in perspective, you can't see this, but I'll put this at the bottom so you can see for yourself because, again, my OBS is doing weird things. This has been odd in a few points. OBS has been acting weird, but in addition to OBS acting weird, so is Patreon. All right, I'm trying to figure out a way for you guys to see this. I have an idea. All right, I'll just read it. So this is LA Times. And maybe I can do this. All right. All right, so this. I know this looks weird. All right, this and this. All right, so this is LA Times. Congress filled with the fewest judgeships since 1952. That leaves a big opening for Trump. Well, right in the title, you can get an idea on who's the big opening for. President-elect Donald Trump would take office. This is about Obama, by the way. I'm bringing this up for a very specific point. Under... What the hell is going on? All right, there we are. Jesus fucking Christ. Under the Obama administration, the Republican Party stalled the entirety of the time that Obama was in office. If you remember, they stole one of his Supreme Court seats, let alone the other court seats that Obama was endowed with the power to fill. It was his responsibility to fill. It was not the responsibility of the Republican Party to stop the President of the United States from filling seats that he was constitutionally given the power to fill. Just to put that in perspective so you understand what I mean, and I'm making the comparison here, whereas the Republican Party did what they were supposed to do from the standpoint of representing the interests of the 1% who pay them. They blocked. They tackled. The Democratic Party is doing the opposite so they can get back to campaigning. All right, let's right here. President-elect Donald Trump will take office with a chance to fill more than 100 seats on the federal courts thanks to an extraordinary 2-year showdown in judicial confirmations engineered by Mitch McConnell. Since Republicans took control of the Senate at the beginning of the 114th Congress last year, senators have voted to confirm only 22 of Obama's judicial nominees. That's the lowest total since 1952 in the final years of Harry Truman's presidency. Does Chuck Schumer know that? Does Chuck Schumer care about that? Are the Democrats who you're giving your money to, that you're trying to get to represent your interests, fight for your interests, to get out there and block and tackle because you hate Donald Trump so much? Do those Democrats know that they fucked Obama over royally in the time that Obama was trying to appoint his judicial nominees? And if they know that, why are they turning around and making things so easy for Trump and McConnell to get his nominees through? It doesn't look like resistance to me. It looks like the opposite. Let's keep going. By contrast, when Democrats controlled the Senate in the last 2 years of George W. Bush's presidency, 68 of his judicial nominees were confirmed. More than twice as many vacancies, 107, exist on federal benches than when George Bush left office. Because, after all, Democrats allow Republican presidents to get through the Supreme Court picks that they want and the judgeships that they want. Republicans, not so much. And here we have the exact same thing that's taking place. Donald Trump is supposed to eat babies. Donald Trump is supposed to be the thing that's ripping roofs off houses and eating the residents that's in those houses. Trump hungry. That's what he's supposed to be. Nevertheless, the Democratic Party is perfectly willing, with a man who rips the roofs off houses and eats puppies and kicks babies, to approve his judgeships, despite them being anti-LGBTQ, probably anti-voting rights, and in this case, anti-abortion. Here is your Democratic Party. Here's your Democratic Party. I will leave this here. All right, guys. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support through Patreon. Trina will be fine. I see the blue wave thing. Look, even if you make the argument that they need to get back to campaign, they need to get out there and actually fight for something, whatever they stand for. Nobody knows what Democrats stand for. They are putting judges on those benches that will be there for an exceedingly long time. And the judges that they're putting on those benches or allowing to be on those benches, again, anti-LGBTQ, anti-abortion. Are these really the people that you want on those benches? And if they are not the people that you want on those benches, are you really backing the Democratic Party as it allows Republicans to essentially put those people on the seats, in their seats. Look, I think that sucks. If I put a politician in that office and if I vote for somebody, I want that person to represent my interests, not be enablers, and certainly not to put in district court judges or judges all across the federal government that would, let's say, toe the line of the Republican Party. I don't think this is a good thing at all. So I'll leave it here. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support through Patreon. You should be embarrassed if this is your party. It's amazing how they lay down, face down, ass up Schumer. Thanks, guys.